Alright guys, let's do another speed cast of a multiplayer game of Civ 6. This one's not nearly as much of a troll game as my last two, which both ended really early. This time I got Gilgamesh of the Sumerian Empire, who's very strong. I'm playing on a tiny map with only 3 other players, and one thing interesting to note is that I realized that the host made the map setting so that there's no tribal villages. That means Gilgamesh's ability of receiving a tribal village reward in addition to the gold when I capture a barbarian outpost can be very strong because I'm going to effectively be getting tribal villages and nobody else isn't. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so we've got abundant resources on, and you can tell it by the quality of my starting position. So I've got 2 ivory, coffee, and jade, 2 wheats, and horses, and crabs, all of my starting position. So this is a good one. Pretty reasonable production, could be more, but all around this is a great start. So right away, I start putting out war carts. They just have such high mobility and offensive power that I'm not even going to build a scout. You know, war carts are just so strong early game for Gilgamesh, I really want to take advantage of it. I find an early natural wonder, which is great. I also find an early barbarian encampment, so I can capture that to get that awesome tribal village bonus, which I'm really excited about. So I'm checking out spots where I could put my second city. Unfortunately, Carthage is on this river just close enough that there's not place between me and him for a second city, so I'll have to find somewhere else. Anyways, I find Hong Kong. Both Carthage and Hong Kong I found first, so I get the free envoy. They're both good city-states to get extra production when you have a single envoy there, so I love that free envoy. So I finally got my first settler out, and I'm going to move him up here next to this oasis. That's the closest place with fresh water, plus I'll be able to work the natural wonder tile with the 2 culture and 2 food. So I think that's a great spot. It also can be another harbor city, maybe a Petra city, which I don't end up building. So I'm just continuing to explore and expand, check out this Pangea map that I'm on. At this point, I've found China, who is, I believe, the AI. He's either quit already or is going to quit very shortly, and is going to be basically completely inconsequential in this game. No interaction with China. That's China's borders right there. Okay, second settler. I'm going to take this guy all the way up to this lake in the northeast. I know it's very far away, which sucks for adjacency bonuses for entertainment districts and production districts, but I really want that fresh water. So I'm moving up to this lake in the northeast by these marble. Now, that'll be my third city. My fourth city is going to be a little bit trickier. Where to put the fourth city? As I'm down here exploring with Arabia, I'm finding that he's finding a little bit of trouble with the barbarians. They are just completely overwhelming his cities. He's got tons of horsemen, horse archers. The barbarians are just running absolutely rampant down here by Arabia. And I'm offering him my condolences via chat. I get my Pantheon. I decide to go with the +1 food to camps because of the number of ivory tiles I'm working already in the early game. I've got my campus next to the 2 mountains for that nice adjacency bonus. And here I've got my 4th settler. You can see him right there. I'm thinking about settling on that wheat on the coast, but I'm realizing it's just not a very good spot. I'm using up the wheat. So what I end up doing is I'm looking all around. I'm going to settle on this 1 dark green tile on this river way over here. Now you'll notice that that is very far from my whole civilization, and Carthage is in between. As you can imagine, that means Carthage's days are numbered. Carthage is in a prime location compared to my other cities, right on the river, and I'm just going to have to take it. So I start massing some military units towards Carthage. Hong Kong, I already have 2 envoys. If I get 1 more, I'll be the suzerain of Hong Kong, and that will be great when I declare war on Carthage because now Carthage will have to split their attacks against myself and all of Hong Kong's warriors there. So now I've declared war, and I just start the attack. I've got about 4 or 5 war carts, a warrior, a spearman, and an archer. I feel like I should be able to make pretty quick work of Carthage here, especially since their units have to also attack Hong Kong's units. He has no walls, so I can make quick work of the city. I also build a ziggurat there, you see, which is a good, unique improvement. Gives you +2 science. So the siege of Carthage is underway. It is not a very long, drawn-out battle. I also get my religion here in the meantime. The 2 religious tenets I choose are the +1% production for each follower, which is a great one. I love the production. I also get the Gurdwara, which is the building for 3 faith and 2 food. I don't even think I built a single one this game. But as you can see, Carthage falls handily. And now I've got this great city, got this nice little square of 4 cities. They're not as close together as I'd like, but pretty good. Here I'm checking out the military strength scores. It's a great thing to do in multiplayer, is to always keep an eye on the military strength scores so that you know your opponents aren't secretly massing some army to launch an ambush on you in the fog of war. Again, I also like to check science. I've got 30 per turn, and my next closest opponent, Rome, has 25 science per turn. So being ahead in science is also obviously extremely important. Now, Kumasai is one of the best city-states in the game. When you're suzerain, you get +2 culture and +1 gold for every specialty district in the city sending a trade route to any city-state. I take a lot of advantage of that. At some point in this game, I probably am getting 50 culture from trade routes. As you can see, Rome has this funny little peninsula down here on the far eastern side of the map, which also happens to be very close to me if I go west around the world. Here I snipe a great scientist from Rome. He was just about to get it, and this is an awesome great scientist. You activate him on a holy site, and he makes the holy site adjacency bonus count for science in addition to faith. And I have a holy site right here, which is getting +4 adjacency bonus from the natural wonder. And I have the policy which doubles, so look at 8 faith, 8 science now. So that is awesome adjacency bonus for the holy site. A combination of that great scientist, the policy that gives 100% adjacency bonus for holy sites is just very overpowered. And look at, I've got 47 science per turn, so that 8 science is a very significant portion of my total overall science, like 18%. I've got 81 culture per turn. Rome has 19 culture per turn. So I'm also absolutely steamrolling these guys in culture, thanks to all my fancy trade routes. Now look at Rome attacked me here. They declared war on me just to kill my little war cart that I had hiding over in his woods. Thought that was pretty funny. Here you can see some of the trade routes that are available to me. 6 culture, 8 culture in a lot of these cities. At this point, I'm ready to start spreading my religion. I want to spread it to some of the eastern cities, kind of use my religion spreads wisely, and my religion will automatically spread on its own back in towards the center. So I like to start my religion on one side, spread it far away, and let the natural spreading move in. Oh, note that I also got the Colosseum here. I don't think I mentioned that yet. In a location that can reach all 4 of my main cities. It gives culture and amenity bonuses to all cities within 6 tiles, which is an incredibly overpowered wonder. Again, I'm continuing to work on my religion a little bit here. So this game is just going absolutely wonderful for me. I just feel like I'm just really snowballing. I've got great land. It's hard for any of my enemies to attack me. You know, there's kind of a buffer of city-states between me and my enemies. So I'm not having to worry about diverting too much of my production towards military and can just focus on just snowballing science, snowballing culture, getting the great people when I need to. Again, I really recommend you always keep an eye out on the great people screen. You never know when you can just use the patronage, I think it's called, to steal, to buy a great person right before somebody else is going to earn it. So this one apostle, he has the ability that when he dies in religious combat, he generates a relic. So I'm actually just kind of taking him off into my enemy's land, hoping he'll die in religious combat, and just using him to explore in the meantime. It just so turns out that none of my opponents are actually building religious units, so I never get in religious combat anyways. So here we can see I'm actually very close to Rome. This is kind of around the other side of the world. Even though this is a Pangea map, I'm actually very close to him, and I'm definitely starting to realize a naval battle is in the future here. I can launch a great attack from my capital to Rome in just like 2 turns worth of movement. So I'm keeping up the envoys. You see I'm suzerain of 4 out of the 5 city-states that I'm friends with right now. Adam Smith, oh, he's one of my favorite great merchants. He gives you an extra economic policy slot, which is extremely powerful. Economic policies, that's the yellow one, are pretty much the best ones in the game, obviously, except for wild cards. So I really like, I prioritize commercial districts, so I have lots of trade routes. So I prioritize the policies that give extra bonuses for trade routes. I also try the one that gives me science and culture bonuses for city-states. Culture and science bonuses for international trade routes. That one didn't actually seem to work too well. I don't know actually what counts as an international trade route, whether or not a city-state does, or only trade routes to other civilizations. So at this point, I've got 2 privateers, and I'm exploring the seas. I'm at 316. Rome is at 260. So again, I still have the most military strength, and my spy got captured, unfortunately. Culture, Rome has 83. I have 167, so I've got twice the culture. I've got 106 science, while Rome has 70-something, so I'm ahead in science. This game just honestly couldn't be going any better for me. I'd like more visibility of the lands. I still haven't actually found Rome itself. I'd like to see his capital. Oh, I also find a natural wonder there. I think that was the Galapagos Islands. Getting my neighborhoods up and running in most of my cities to remove the housing cap. There we go. Okay, now I've found Rome, and I've got the technology for ironclads. So my thought at this point is, if I can build a few ironclads, I should be able to take out his cities very quickly. I have a feeling that I'm well ahead of him in policies, and he really won't expect ironclads. So that's my plan at this point. Build 3 ironclads or so with my privateers and just quickly take his cities. Also, my production, my capital is great. It doesn't take me very many turns to build my ironclads. And at this point, I actually go away from my keyboard to get a drink, which just happens to be the time that Rome launches a surprise frigate attack on me. So I think he has 4 frigates here. You can see I'm literally not even at my computer, so he takes out 1 unit. But I get back and I realize what's happening. I use my privateer to try to snipe one of his frigates. And thankfully, I only have 2 more turns before my first ironclad is out, which will really help me repel this attack. I buy a bombard as well. I don't know if I should have done that. Maybe I should have bought a privateer or a frigate myself. But I'm able to escape with my Great Admiral and my privateer, get my crossbow in some action. And now my ironclad's out, and that ironclad makes very quick work of his frigates. So I've cleared the seas around my capital. As you can see, Arabia has some strange unit in my water. I think he was thinking about attacking me, but he didn't realize we were allies. You can see that with the little blue flag on his profile picture up in the top right. Ah, the New Deal. What a great policy. +4 housing and +2 amenities in all cities with at least 3 specialty districts, but you get -8 gold. That's a hefty gold cost, but my economy engine is just so powerful right now that I can handle it. I love the enemy spies level reduced by 2 in your cities. Your cities only suffer -1 amenity. Combined with New Deal, I'm still at +1 amenity, and the enemy spies operate at -2, which is really good. I don't have time to build lots of counter spies, and so I really need something to keep my enemies from attacking me. So this is really the last big naval battle in the game. He's trying one last stand with his frigates, but I get some really good attacks in here. I take the first move here in a couple places, and so I really come out on top of this attack. I'm bringing in another ironclad, and I settle a nice little city by the Galapagos Islands. My vision is that maybe this will be kind of a forward harbor to resupply my ships, but it doesn't end up growing fast enough to be any significant help in my battles to come. Here we can see I captured 1 or 2 frigates and sent the rest flying. I now have complete control over this little inland sea, which, by the way, is so cool. What a great landmass for Pangea. I just really love these type of naval battles, and they just don't happen very often in Pangea games. I think the algorithm for generating the Pangea in Civ 6 is a little different from Civ 5. You get much more stringy lands. So at this point in the game, Arabia and Rome have caught up to me in military strength. So it's very close. I'm a little nervous. You see that there's an Arabian field cannon on my eastern border. Thankfully, I now have the technology for submarines. So my privateers upgrade to submarines. I take just 1 or 2 turns here to restore the health of my navy. And I've now got 2 submarines, 3 ironclads, and I am ready to attack Rome City. I'm pretty confident in this attack. I just have not seen much action on his end since those 4 or 5 frigates. If I were him, I would have been just spamming out naval units, but it just doesn't seem that that's what he's been doing. In fact, he offers me peace here, I decline, and we troll each other a little bit. After I decline, he offers me peace again with 1 luxury resource. I say, only if you give me all of your great works. Which, of course, he trolls me back by saying he'll give me all of his great works if I give him all of my cities. But, of course, I'm ready to attack him, so I do not choose to go to peace with Rome. And I've now got a battleship. Battleships seem like they come really early in Civ 6. It's just an incredibly powerful unit with the 3 range attack. I just really love how early I can get these out. I feel very powerful. But my subs are now on his border, ready to attack. Battleship coming in. Another sub, 2 ironclads. It's just going really well for me. Again, always be checking, monitoring. Where are you at in science? Where are you at in military strength with your enemies? My subs make quick works of his frigates, which are now many eras obsolete in the face of my modern army. And I start attacking his city. Some torpedoes, some bombardment from my battleship. I don't even need all my boats to attack Puteoli. I can send some around to get started on Rome. Now, we see here we got 2 apostles and some military units starting to encroach on my land in the east. Now, Arabia and I are no longer allies, so I really do need to be watching out for him to attack me. And this turn is definitely going to be the end of this Roman city with this many subs, and my ironclad will come in for the finish. I decided to keep it as kind of a forward base. I can move in some land units to help me attack Rome. Arabia still hasn't attacked me yet, but I'm getting ready for it, moving my musketmen into position. Now it's time for me to move my navy just around the east coast here of this peninsula to attack the capital, Rome. He has 2 more frigates down here, but they're just frigates. He really is just too far behind. I have 1,000 military strength, and Arabia is less than half of me. So it's just, honestly, at this point, the game is over. These guys have just not been able to keep up in military or in science, or in fact in culture, for that matter. Not that that really matters. Having a little bit of religious warfare here. I have some inquisitors to help repel the apostles from Arabia. And Arabia declares a surprise war against me and disconnects, which is pretty funny. So now it's just me and Rome. Rome's being a good sport. He says, I will never let you take Rome. We're just having fun at this point. You know, we both know that the game's over. And look at this. Arabia's actually captured most of Rome's cities, especially if you look at the minimap there. I hadn't realized that they'd been at war. Rome only had 2 cities left, one of which I've taken. So now the capital, Rome, is literally all he has left. So he's really a great sport for not quitting. And I want to end the game as quickly as possible just to get it over with. I've now got artillery and field cannons coming in from the north. He has legion, which are millennia out of date at this point. And now I'm wiping out the measly Arabian forces on my east coast, doing some cleanup work here around Rome. And he has no longer any defenses. I've got a second battleship in position. Arabia can't do anything, and this game is over. So this was a really fun game for me. If you guys watched my previous 2 games, they were both pretty troll. They ended very quickly. I had to deal with the classic disconnects. This one, I got to go to the end. I really like playing on Tiny with only 4 players total. The turns go very fast. The game goes very fast on this online speed, and you can get a good game in to the end game like this in 3 or 3.5 hours, which you can do on a weeknight after work. Unlike, you know, if you're playing with 6 or 8 players on quick speed, those can take 8 hours. You know, you really need a whole weekend day to finish one of those games. So thanks for watching. I'm still experimenting with this voiceover speedcast type thing. It takes a little extra work for me. You know, I have to edit the whole video and do a voiceover instead of just commentating live, but that would end up with like a 4-hour video, and instead I can boil this all down for you in what, 18 minutes? So if you like it, please subscribe. It really helps me realize that it's worth it to put this effort into my videos. So subscribe, thumbs up, and stick around for my next Civ 6 video, or maybe even an Overwatch video. Big Boss Billy, out.